so excited.
It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielson, Matt Kassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Two Guys and a Goalie, presented to you by GS Construction. Take your career to the next level with GS. They are hiring now. Become a part of their great team today by visiting gsconstruction.ca or just visit their page on indeed.ca. For the past 50 years, the foundation of GS Construction has been built on efficiency, quality, and safety. Same things as EST. Take your career to the next level. Join the team at GS Construction. Efficiency, we got it. Quality, we got it. Safety, I don't know if we have to still work on that around here or what. I mean, it feels like a pretty safe place. I think outside of like strangers walking in off the street, I think that should be okay. Cass, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
I'm good. I was saying I had a chat with a guy I know, and at some point we got to go try. There's some place that's got some lobster rolls not far from
This is what I heard before we started. Yes,
yeah. I'm like, I got to take the fellas out there, get some lobster. Yeah, so that's kind of where my brain's at. But no, I'm good. I'm good. Still busy. Still, the kids are kind of settling into that routine.
Yeah.
Now, I know I texted you guys, but I'm settling into the school routine too. So I'm gonna go volunteer on Thursday at my grade 4 year old girls. They have like an all day retreat.
Okay.
Like they're doing like a big retreat for all of grade 4 for her school. And they
what's up with that? So early in the year?
If there's any dads that can make it.
So early in the year? What's going on here? This is wild.
So they actually asked us about it last year. Like for kids that are returning, they're like, hey, like they start gathering volunteers the prior year. Like if you know your kid's going to be at the school the next year, to just so they're not scrambling to find people. But apparently they like doing it at the start of the year. It'll be a lot of fun. And it kind of makes sense. Is like, especially if you got new kids and that sort of ththing, like gives them a chance to go have a really fun day early in the year. So I get it, but I don't know what my volunteer position is going to be yet on Thursday, but I'm going to be ready to lay the smack down a little bit. You know, if there's any of those little peeps they're talking to my daughter too much, Dad's going to lay down the law early. I mean, you got to start early.
Team building
kids,
event.
Right? You got to.
Yeah, you got to lay down the law. Who's dad's that huge jerk over there? Oh, you don't worry about him. He used to be a tough guy in the NHL.
I don't know if I told you guys this yet, but the older one, like I think she feels very deeply about a lot of things. So her highs are high, her lows are low, and she goes between them very, very quickly. My middle kid is probably the one who I'm going to be more worried, like with the boys, because already, I don't know if I told you guys this, it happened. So there were 3 boys' birthday parties that were boys only, and she was the only girl invited this summer.
What?
To go to them. Yeah, because she's incredibly sweet and generous and kind, but she also will get into it. Like she's not afraid to, like, if you want to fight, yeah, she'll fight you. You want to wrestle, yeah, she'll wrestle you. Like she'll kind of, yeah, she's got an engine that way. And so they all have, and my older daughter tells us, like, all these boys have crushes on her, and I'm like, you're in grade 2, like, give me a break.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. Anytime something like that comes up around our house, Elizabeth just sort of smiles. I'm just like, don't even waste your time with me right now. Like, what are we talking about here? It's ridiculous. Mind you, I remember having, like, I think my first crush on a girl in like grade 2.
Yeah,
like,
you think about that age.
I used to try to trip her in the out in the playground, and I was just like, this is so much fun. Like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's a thing. Who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah, Gage, tell me about wait a second, Cass. Tell me what the lobster roll. Like, what is a lobster roll? Is it just lobster on a bun, or what is it?
Yeah, it's like you get a bun. You don't want too much because it should be about the lobster, not about the bun. But you still want like a nice bun there.
So it's like a lobster sloppy Joe, basically.
Yeah, but you don't have a ton of sauce. Like it's just a little bit of sauce, a little bit of seasoning on a buttered or a toasted bun. Lobster rolls are delicious, and it's some places do it kind of with hot lobster where it's freshly cooked. Some do it where they cool the lobster down again after. I don't know if there's an absolute right or wrong answer with that, but we got to go. I told him today, I'm like, hey man, his name's Colby. I was like, hey Colby, like I'll bring the boys by. We gotta go get some lobster.
Gager, how are you doing, buddy? You're going to be on EST afternoons, but you stayed home. You're in yesterday, but what are you stuffed? I could tell by your voice you're stuffed up a little bit.
Yeah, it's something hit me last night, Dusty. I was worried that hopefully everyone at EST is feeling okay. I felt bad, and I thought I would come in, and then I was like, no, I can't take down the team like this. So
smart move.
Probably a good idea. I stayed home today. This time of year. Kids back at school, and probably going up to White Court and staying up late.
Going up to White Court and partying for a night probably wasn't the best idea.
Yeah, probably didn't help out too much. And then, I got home after yesterday, and I was like, I got to lay down. And I woke up later, and I just slept the whole night and just try to battle through. I'm trying to go for the award for next year.
When you tough it out the most.
So good. This is we'll see if I can if this makes it all the way through till next year.
But you by not coming in today and getting the team sick, that's part of the safety that we were talking about. Just like over at GS Construction, safety comes first. So it was funny. Hernan was walking in today and we said, hey, Gage is going to do the show from home, and he didn't even know what to say. He's like, what? And then he comes over to me and goes, hey, don't ask Gager any questions about hockey during two guys. I was just like, he's like, save them for me. I said, well, we'll get to that as we work our way through the show today. Informal skates, boys. And not only informal skates, but line combinations from informal skates. At least the top six. Tony Brar tweeting this out. Everybody back on the scene. Informal skates. The whole city loses their mind. That being said, I don't know if I love the second line. I mean, I've been mixing and matching lines all year. So today, at least at the skate, Nuge, McDavid, Hyman, and then Draisaitl between Arvidsson and Skinner. And Katz, I guess I'll throw it to you first. What do you think of putting two new guys with Leon Draisaitl, as opposed to one face he's familiar with and then a fresh body?
I don't mind it. We've seen Leon be adaptable. And if you think about those two guys, Leon needs a guy that can pull the trigger, that can be a shooting threat. It's going to open up space for Leon, going to give him some options from a pass standpoint. Skinner gives you that. And I think also helpful to have a guy like you already have Zach Hyman. And Zach Hyman, we know when he's playing with Connor, what he's capable of. So saying that you're looking like an Arvidsson with Leon on the other wing, like a guy that is going to be more on the net, going to dig out pucks, going to play that greasy little bit of a game, going to help Leon pull pucks out of the corner and create some space. I actually like that line combination. I don't know why you're so grumpy about it, Dusty.
Oh, I know. I'm not grumpy about it. I'm just wondering if it would be better to go grumpy. I don't know. I'm not grumpy, Cass. I'm not trying to be grumpy. I mean, I'm a little grumpy that we're talking about informal skate lines, but I know people want it. So I'm like, begrudgingly giving it to you a little bit today. But I just thought maybe like Nuge, Draisaitl, and Arvidsson, and then Skinner with Hyman and McDavid, just to mix the two. Gager, what do you think? What do you think about having the two new guys with Draisaitl?
Look, it's these are informal skates. Keyword informal, right? Like maybe there's something there just to get. I'd rather them start. Maybe if there's chemistry there, finding out earlier rather than later. I was kind of leaning more towards trying to see if Skinner with McDavid and Hyman, and then having Arvidsson with Nuge and Leon. I thought that I kind of liked that look, maybe a little bit better, but I don't know. It's I think it's exciting too, like having new players to play with, skilled players for Leon. We all know what a great passer he is, and maybe not having to take the burden of having to, trying to always score goals, and he can look to set other guys up. Might be interesting.
Quick, Maddie, people say they're still hearing music on iHeart. I don't know if that's a thing. Just get that fixed. Was it a thing? Wannick's looking into it. For some people, they're still hearing music on iHeart, so should be good to go now. Brett B over in the nasty chat. If you're watching on YouTube today, hammer thumbs up for us. Brett B says, you're going to talk about informal skate lines and you're going to like it. Signed, us Oilers fans. I mean, pretty much. I mean, it is kind of how, like, so let me just throw this scenario by you. Let's say at times this year, they load up McDavid and Draisaitl and you put Nuge between Skinner and Arvidsson. Cass, you like that as an option at some point throughout the season?
Well, it still sounds like a pretty good second line, doesn't it?
It'd still be a good second line. Different, though.
Still
definitely
a good second line. Nuge, again, defensively responsible, going to be a little bit of a distributor there. You have Skinner, who's a trigger guy, hopefully can score you some goals, can be a shooter. And then you have Arvidsson, which, he is the guy that fits, can play in the first line, can play in the second line, can play in the third line. Like, he fits up and down your lineup with the type of game that he plays. So as long as he's healthy, plays that rambunctious style and digs pucks out. So again, I look at that second line, if that were to be where Nuge slides, if you're loading up that top line, and all of a sudden you have a second line that should potentially still be very, very dangerous and very, very good. Where, if we go back to last year, we're kind of like, okay, you load up that top line, was kind of difficult for the second line to get that much going. I think you have addressed that here, where even with Nuge sliding into the middle on that line, it's still a pretty good line. Yeah,
I think about when after a penalty, right? Usually Coach K doubles up Connor and Leon because they haven't been out there on the PK, like trying to get some juice that way. So I wonder if they stick with Hyman on that line, or do you throw? I mean, there's multiple options to come back after the PK with. All you know is that McDavid and Draisaitl are going to be together. Then you throw maybe the buzzsaw Arvidsson or Skinner. You can't go wrong with Nuge either. They've always seemed to have done quite well coming back after the PK and getting some sustained pressure for a little bit.
780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. If you are just joining us on TuneIn or iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, sorry about the delay. It is Two Guys and a Goalie presented to you by GS Construction with Nielson, Cass, and Gager. Gager, just to confirm, you aren't in the Arctic right now, right? People say you look very cold.
Yeah, I'm freezing right now, actually. It's the chills are running through my body, and my nice nasally voice. I hope everyone's really appreciating it and loving it right now.
Hey, Maddie's here. Maddie, can you mark Gager down for toughing it out for next year's Estes? Look at this guy. He looks like he's bundled up in the Arctic. He's about to do 2 shows back to back. Sacrificed himself staying home and not coming into a fun workplace today to make sure nobody else got sick. I mean, pretty clutch move. Pretty clutch move today. Mark it down. We got to keep track of this stuff for the Estes next year, Gager. You might be getting yourself
hey, am I going to be in the running when I was basically like on my deathbed and coughing up blood for 2 weeks trying to do shows at the start of the year, then came back and could barely talk? Does that get me some consideration here for this year?
You know what, Cass?
Talked about that.
I think we forgot about that.
Garbage.
Cass wasn't in there, was he, Maddie? I don't think. Well, Cass was saying, what about him from last year? He was like coughing up blood for 2 weeks and trying to come back and do the shows. Yeah, we totally forgot about Cass's severe sickness. Well, no, here's what we're going to do, Cass. We are tracking everything much better this year, right? The Estes didn't become a thing till like midway through the year. So there's some things we certainly missed. So what do you got, Maddie?
Well, Cass, you were nominated for Rant of the Year against Analytics.
So that's nice.
You are up for
that's
an
a good
award.
one. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, no, that's right in your wheelhouse. That's right in your wheelhouse.
And Two Guys is one of the 4 finalists for a Show of the Year.
Two Guys did make one of the finalists for Show of the Year. So, I mean, we should be pretty proud of ourselves. The other 3 finalists are the Nielsen Show, the Hangout, and the Oil Stream. The Lock Shop, just a stepchild here, I guess. Like, and then pre and
Oil
post.
Stream pre and post didn't get in there.
Pre and post had a great year, didn't get in.
No Hello Hockey, no VIP Golf Show, no Green and Gold Kickoff post game shows.
Yeah, that's true.
So there was like 9, top 4 of 9.
So we'll be proud of it. I mean, we finished in the top 43% of the vote,
and might win.
And we might win. Oh, man, can you imagine Two Guys and Goalie winning Show of the Year? Boys, that would be so exciting. I think that'd be a lot of fun. That'd be good. Caster1990 over the nasty chat says Cass got screwed for an Esty. Well, we're gonna track better in year 2. That's something we're gonna definitely do. We're gonna track better in year 2. Rico Brammark is in and it says Cass lost like 40 pounds during that stretch.
Yeah.
You did lose quite a bit of weight, didn't you, Cass?
I did lose quite a bit. Yeah, no, I lost. I lost a lot. Just because I couldn't eat. I mean, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I basically was just laying there. I couldn't close my eyes because my head hurt too much. I was the sickest I've ever been, guys, by far and away. Like that was bad. It sucks.
And you toughed it out, buddy. And here you are today to tell about it, right? It's pretty big. Hey, when do you guys?
Maybe a lifetime achievement award. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, maybe, who knows? There's something that would be the ultimate male thing to be like, Cass was sick for 2 weeks. Here's a lifetime achievement award. Our wives would be mocking us relentlessly for that one. I'm pretty sure my wife has had something wrong with her for a year. She's always just my shoulders. Oh, I can't say. It's always the same thing.
I wouldn't care though. I mean, I feel like my wife would just roll her eyes at me with that, but it's like I would carry that proudly. Like I kind of feel, and maybe here's an idea for future Esties too, is like you should get a trophy, but you should get like a medal or like a pin or something like you can wear all the time.
Yeah.
Or something you can wear like on the show. So like if you like maybe if we all get special coats.
Like an Esties
like
coat.
I know Modern Measure does a bunch of stuff for Tommy and for Belzy on their show, but like maybe we could get special coats, each of us, and it's like you start to collect like
your different.
You know how
awards.
like the military get like the little bars of awards, like something like that, like where
like a little patch.
Little patches.
Hey, that would be good. Like badges almost from swimming lessons.
Yeah,
like brownies and Girl Guides back in the day.
Yeah, or like
scouts.
The scouts, right?
Yeah.
Even just like a sash, so you can wear a sash.
This is my SD sash. What's this one for? Oh, that's for Rant of the Year right there. It's just a microphone on fire type of thing. I mean, that's something we could probably look for. A couple of comments over in the nasty chat today. Andrew E says you need a golden EST hat. The golden hat. For only winners get the golden hat moving forward. Brett B says, does this snub push Cass to become the SD insider who leaks all of the winners before they're announced at the event? That would be that'd be a tough. HR Daddy would not like that. The old Jeff Merrick treatment on that one. That would not be good. And then Justin of Balgoni says, I haven't seen a screw job this bad since Dusty's draft. And of course, I've been ranting about that for the last week or so here on the station. So yeah, Brock over in the inbox here on Two Guys and Goalie, presented to you by GS Construction. Is Gage still nursing the hangover from Whitecourt? Come on, buddy. Gager, is that what this is? Is this just like a 4-day hangover for you or what?
Did I look hungover yesterday, Dusty?
No. I don't think you looked peak Gager yesterday.
Maybe I wasn't peak Gager, but no, I was fine. I was okay. I rallied, but just when you get to my age, Dusty, just the immune system goes for right downhill.
Pretty much. These informal skates. When do you think's the ideal time to start skating with a new season looming? Cass, when would you like to get back out there? I don't know if it's changed much. I mean, you haven't been retired for that long, but was it, some guys were skating last week, kind of officially got it going yesterday because McDavid was on the ice. He's going to speak today. Reed Wilkins will have some more on that. Hernan and Gage will have a little bit more on that. But Cass, what's too early? What's not early enough? Like, what do you think?
It all depends on when your season ends and what your body needs. For a guy like me that played 7 minutes a night, yeah, you're going to start skating earlier. Your body maybe isn't quite as worn down as some of the other guys, maybe not as banged up as some of the other guys, maybe. But you have to take your rest. And then for me, I like being on the ice. I always had to be working on my skating. There was always things to work on to try to improve. So I usually liked starting generally pretty early, but not heavily on the ice. Now, as far as being on the ice like every day, upping the intensity, usually you're at probably about 3 weeks before those informal skates start. Like that's when you really start to be on the ice more every single day. And it shifts from just being overly heavy in the gym to being more heavy on the ice. And then as far as informal skates, I like being there a week to two early, week and a half early, long enough to get any time change out of your system, get used to your surroundings, get comfortable, just feel like you can get into the groove, enough time to feel like you're in the groove of things. Now it's always different for guys that are coming in that have to stay in the hotel versus guys that are coming in that are just getting their houses set up. Because if you stay too long in the hotel, well, all of a sudden you may feel claustrophobic if you've been in there for a week already by the time camp starts. So you're maybe kind of being like, okay, maybe 4 or 5 days is enough in that regard. Also depends on if you're a guy that's going to be on the team or have a good chance at making the team. But I kind of feel like, again, you start skating heavy about a month before, and those last, I shouldn't even say, it's like your last 2 weeks before those informal skates are pretty heavy, and the informal skates usually pretty light until the last couple of days, again, just to ramp up a little bit to get your body ready for what's about to happen, which can be pretty heavy for some people, or depending on the coach and what type of camp it is and all that.
Gage, what about for a goalie?
Again, it's personal preference. You want to be able to feel the puck and have some specific drills to do to start feeling better about yourself. I would say I was on the ice, kind of those informal skates wherever I was, and playing shinny a couple times a week. But then when I got closer to camp, I was probably on the ice 5 days a week, just to make sure I didn't, it didn't look like I got out on the ice and I was wearing skate guards, right? And just, feeling new equipment, probably make sure that's all good. But I was a hotel guy too, right? So I didn't come early at all. I couldn't. Sitting in the hotel would have killed me. It's tough. It's great for a little bit, but too long in a hotel is very, very difficult.
All right, Edmonton Oilers, they announced their rookie camp roster. Rookies will report tomorrow, and then they'll get ready for the rookie tournament that's coming up. This is the list of guys on the rookie camp roster for the Edmonton Oilers this year. Carl Berglund, Braden Boehm, Connor Clattenburg, Ethan DeJong, Vincent Desjardins, Jaden Gruby, Jesse Heslop, William McNeil, Sam O'Reilly, who was just drafted this year, Matvei Petrov, who obviously has some significant offensive upside, Matt Savoy, James Steffen, Brady Stonehouse, and Dalen Wakely. And then on the blue line, Bo Akey, Nate Corbett, Hyde Davidson, Mark Lajoie, Frankie Morelli. Frankie Morelli just sounds like some sort of gangster on Sopranos or whatever, doesn't it? Like, careful, I'll get Frankie Morelli. You'll be sleeping with the fishes down in the river. Like, that's an easy one. Reese Peterson, Pierre-Olivier Waugh, Max Warner, and then goaltenders, Brad Bruchot, Nathaniel Day, and Connor Unger. When you look at this team right now, guys, especially with the current team that's constructed here, this overall group, it's not like there's a bunch of top 10 picks in here. There's one, it's Matt Savoy, who they recently traded for, and who I would think is probably the only guy that has a shot at making the team out of camp. Maybe a Max Warner, a defenseman who's got a little bit of pro under his belt. They seemed to like the way he was trending last year. But I'm not really expecting anybody. I don't think there'll be some guy 6 games into the preseason going, man, this guy came from rookie camp, and now we're looking outside of maybe Savoy. So what do you make of this year's group, guys? I don't, quite honest, I don't know a lot of these games. Obviously, Bo Akey's been talked about before. I'm looking at someone who basically kind of does what Dylan Holloway's done over the last 2 years. Dusty, he's been the best player in camp for the Edmonton Oilers each year, and given him an extra look or at least given the opportunity to start game one with the Oilers. Are there a lot of spots? No, but it's all these guys have this is fun when you get to this point and you have an opportunity to prove yourself against top competition. I'm interested to see who kind of separates themselves, and that's what whoever's drinking that Holloway juice and who can kind of maybe stick around for main camp a little bit longer and see what these guys can do in certain situations with the big boys. Sorry, I got distracted by Reed Wilkins. He's very distracting when he comes in. He was playing like a guitar riff with his tongue out. He's like, it's highly entertaining. I'm not going to lie. But I think, Gage, you make a good point. Cass, I'll lead that over to you here on, for Matt Savoy, try to be the Dylan Holloway on this team. Different style of players. I think once you watch these two guys play, what you saw from Dylan Holloway, you're going to see a different style of player from Matt Savoy. But Dylan Holloway found a way to contribute a little bit here and there as a younger guy on this team, Cass, and I'd have to think Matt Savoy hopes that he can possibly do the same.
Yeah, I think so. Very different types of players. Matt Savoy, I think, has a level of creativity and offensive capacity to his game that's just not there for Dylan Holloway. Holloway, if we look at what he still may pan into as a player, it could be a second line guy that produces on occasion, could be a third line guy that plays a steady third line role. Holloway at his best was that chippy, aggressive, good forechecker, like hard to play against type of player. And that's probably not going to be Matt Savoy. Now, if he can go out and he can show that he can play responsible defensively and still bring that creativity, then it goes a long way. I mean, really, you listed all the names there. There's not really any that are knocking on the door except for Matt Savoy. So, he's going to have a lot of opportunity. I think what you want to see from him from a rookie camp standpoint is seeing some offensive dominance against that level of player. See him just be able to bring that creativity in his offensive side of the game, but still play some responsible defensive hockey as well. So his capacity is there for it. I think we took a while ago, I can't remember how many games we all thought that Matt Savoy was going to get in the NHL, or what the over-under was on one of the GS construction hire.
Hire to fire. It's what I put it at, like 39-ish or something like that.
I think it was it may have even been 30, maybe been 30. It was 39 or 30, in the 30 somewhere. And it's like, well, his journey towards that starts at rookie camp here. Going to have a lot of opportunity. He's going to get a lot of looks. Going to get all the power play time, going to get all the first line time here. So I'm excited to watch, excited to see him go here. And I mean, I don't think he needs to come in and do what Dylan Holloway did, Dusty, because he's not Dylan Holloway. He's just such a different player that Matt Savoy doesn't need to come in and be Dylan Holloway. Matt Savoy needs to come in and be Matt Savoy, which is show the creativity, again, the explosive offensive capacity, while still just showing that he can be responsible defensively.
You saw him in the finals there, Dusty. What would you say? What kind of player is Matt Savoy? If you were to compare him to somebody else.
It's a really good. Let me think. On
I have a comparison. I watched him play a bunch of times this year, and I mean, a hard comparison in some ways. I would have compared him to Johnny Gaudreau in a lot of ways, stylistically, not a huge body.
The first word that came from me, Cass, was shifty.
Yeah, well, that's again, that's where I would have, if I was going to compare him to a player, I'd say he's got some of those characteristics where he's not a massive body, but he's shifty and he's creative. So he's going to be deceptive with the way he moves and the way he positions his hips and his shoulders. And he's going to think outside the box, which is where you're hoping from a long-term standpoint, he's a guy that can play in your top six.
Yeah, he's not going to blow you away with his speed, but he moves well enough. He's smart with the puck. He protects it well. His puck protection skills, from what I saw in West, they kind of remind me a little bit of like Jack Eichel. Now Eichel's a higher level, and Eichel moves a little bit better. But like you watch Jack Eichel play and see how he controls the puck. Saw that a little bit from Savoy, and we had the voice of the Moose Jaw Warriors on right around that time, and we asked him for a comparable, and I can't remember. Well, he brought. No, it was Jagger who he compared to Braden Point. I was trying to think. I can't remember who you compared Matt Savoy to, but
I can't remember. Jagger would play more like a Braden Point.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
like a little more of the physicality to it. I would say
Savoy was very well-rounded. He was very well-rounded.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like offensively,
that's where I think, again, hard to make that comparison just with the horrific accident, but is like a Johnny Gaudreau type of player. Like in recent memory, he's that type of guy, like where he's just, again, not a massive body, not overly physical, but very, very shifty, thinks the game very offensive. And outskills guys all over the ice. That's what type of player he is. I'm very interested to see him play in the preseason. Like, I'm not a huge fan of preseason, but there's usually one or two guys that I want to get a couple of looks at. And Gage or Matt Savoy would probably be the top of that list for me, regardless of all the players. Like, Skinner, what Skinner's going to be, what Arvidsson's going to be. Who cares how they look in the preseason? They're going to ramp it up. I actually want to see how Savoy looks in the preseason. And it might not mean anything carrying over to the regular season. We talked about the Holloway thing, but I'm interested to see how it looks.
I want to see a bunch of these guys. I think you should play the legs off most of these guys in the preseason. Savoy should play at least 6 or 7 games, to get a good look. It's an eye opener when you start playing against regular NHLers, and then even more so when you get to the end of preseason and the lineups are even more guys that come back in, and you can really get a good grasp of what this guy has. So yeah, it's exciting. And I'm interested to watch Bo Akey too. I want to see what he's capable of. I mean, right shot defenseman in the system. I'd like to see how he's progressed so far.
All right. As far as PTOs go, Tyson Barrie got one down in Calgary. Tenorti got a two-way contract down in Calgary. I know Brendan Escott from 630 Ched was saying that he's expecting Travis Dermott to be with the Oilers on a PTO by the 23rd. I think I saw on his tweet last night. Tommy did a little bit of digging around on that, and it looks like Travis Dermott will in fact be on a PTO with the Edmonton Oilers. Nothing official announced just yet, but I think you can probably expect that to happen. He can play the left side. He can play the right side. Comes in with really good NHL experience. You have to think that there could be a job here for him, don't you, Cass?
I muted myself. Yeah.
Check.
Check. Is there an SD for that? Can I get a
yeah, for most times muted, buddy, you're a runaway winner. runaway winner.
Favorite.
Yeah.
Runaway winner. Oh, geez. I can't even remember who we were talking about now.
Dermott. Like he played 50 games last year in Arizona. He was minus 14. He had 7 points on obviously not a great team. A couple of years with the Canucks before that.
Yeah.
Didn't play much. And then was 5 years with the Toronto Maple Leafs where he kind of tried to break in and did eventually break in. He's played 329 games in the National Hockey League. He's 27 years old. He's a bottom pair guy if he makes the team, but a guy that apparently can play both sides.
Yeah, play both sides. I mean, he's a guy that maybe someone you look at being that 7th guy. Maybe you see if he clears waivers and you send him down, and if someone gets hurt, he can be your 7th guy or 6th guy. Like, there's some flexibility there, which is where you have him. So there's going to be some opportunity. I wouldn't anticipate that he's going to have that big of a role or a big role. I still think they have to look at doing something on the defensive side, which may just completely push him out at the end of the day. But for now, to say that he could get some games, I mean, how many games do you guys expect he would get this year? Barring injury. So say injury aside,
like Dermott, if he makes the team
healthy, how much do you think he's going to play? Yeah.
I don't know. He's got, I don't know how, and it's not because of him. I don't know because of the other guys. Like, we have to see what Brown does. I'm not too sure anybody has high expectations for him. Some people have high expectations for Amberson. You have to see how Stetcher is, if he can stay healthy throughout the year. I don't know. I don't even know what I would ballpark that at right now, Cass. I don't.
Yeah, it depends on injury mostly, right? If he outperforms Brown, and then he's, what is that? Fits in like 7th, 8th, and then.
Yeah, whoever fits in at 7 is going to play what, 20 games? If they stay healthy?
Well, yeah, if they stay healthy. If everything goes perfect, I would say about 20 games.
And I'd be pretty surprised if their blue line is as healthy this year as it was last year, because it was ridiculous.
No, it was like an anomaly.
I was like, so you're probably looking at it going, okay, well, maybe there's an opportunity to get a few games in here. Now, that kind of brings us to another discussion. I threw it out there a little bit earlier. I do believe Stoff has been mentioning it on his show, Oilers Now, about the Edmonton Oilers possibly trading for a defenseman before the season begins. I threw out a tweet a little bit earlier on today and was just kind of asking people, like, okay, I mean, you're going to trade for a defenseman. Who do you trade for reasonably that can make a significant impact? Who do you give up? How does it fit in cap-wise? And here are some of the replies that we got. Jordan says, Fabro, Fowler, Mackenzie Weegar. I don't know how in the world that's going to work. He makes $6.25 million. I just don't know how that's going to work. Carmen Gill says, Dante Fabro, one of the 2nd/3rd round picks that they still have, and a prospect not named Max Wanner. So that's something you could look at. Curtis says they won't. So I'm going to say nobody and nobody. John says depends what teams are out of it come December. So he didn't even read the initial tweet. I could be wrong, but I don't. Do either of you guys see them actually pulling the trigger on a deal here to land a defenseman before the season starts?
No.
I don't think it happens. I mean, I think they're trying to, but most teams at this point, aside from guys that they're maybe a little undecided on PTOs, like everyone generally likes their team or is happy what they have, generally. And they're not going to go pulling the trigger, especially on a big move, which is what the Oilers would want. I mean, you're not going to make a trade for a third pairing guy that's going to be in under the lineup. You're not going to trade for another one of those. So I don't see it happening. I would like to have them trade for a top 4 defenseman on that right side before the season starts. But I don't see it happening.
I just don't see a realistic possibility of it fitting in before. Like, first of all, how many trades have we ever seen of significance between September 10th and 15th and beginning the regular season? Like, very rarely does that happen. Very rarely would somebody viewed as a top 4 defenseman gets traded at all anyway. Some things would have to come together here pretty quickly to pull off a deal where you're like, oh, and there's a difference here between trading for a defenseman and trading for a guy that they trade for him and we all go, oh, he's playing with Darnell Nurse 100% of the time this year, right? I don't know. You might not even be able to find that guy at the deadline, let alone right now. And how would you make it work on the cap? I mean, outside of Evander Kane's salary somehow being involved one way or the other, I just don't see how it's possible, let alone, it might make sense in a perfect world, but Gage, I don't see a path to this, I guess, is what I'm saying. No,
because, I mean, if you go through, like, I've been scouring Puckpedia of what type of player that would fit, I think, with the Oilers, like that, solid, dependable right shot defenseman. They can't, all the ones that are there, they cost too much. And there would be something would be going back the other way. And I even then, I don't know if it actually works. So, and we also heard Stan Bowman talk about a few weeks ago, he was asked if he was going to start the regular season. And he said, well, we're always looking, but I think we want to see what we have first before we start making knee-jerk reactions. And I kind of liked him saying that, right? Why make the move now when you don't know what you have, right? Like, and I'm sure he's been discussing things with other GMs. They've probably got their short list of players that they want to focus on, that they think that they will need. But yeah, I really don't think, and I think Stoff actually told me this when I was up in Whitecourt too, Dusty.
I wonder if he's also sick. Just saying.
Well, he was really close to me, so I don't know.
Well, never mind. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Anyway, what did he say?
He said there's a big move coming.
See, but Stoff thinks there's a big move coming all the time. All the time he thinks there's so let's just say so Stoff says big move coming. What's a big move? Like, wait, the only big move I can see is, and this could be a possible path to it. It has to involve Evander Kane. You could still, now they said they wanted to kind of accrue the cap space, but I mean, if all of a sudden you're like, hey, Evander Kane's going to be out 6 months, then do you go and trade for a defenseman that makes close to the same money? And we're like that. I can't see another big move or something that I would describe as a big move. What else would be considered a big move? I can't see that.
Has Evander Kane been skating at these skates?
Geez, I know Tommy's in the nasty chat. I don't think so.
I don't think he was. I mean, there's no way. I mean, we're still trying to figure out how he's gonna get repaired or whatever. I don't know. It's exciting to be like, oh, major move before the season, but who makes a major move before the season? I mean, I'd love to look at a history of significant trades made between September 15th and October 5th. I'd love to see the list of that. Kane hasn't been there. Tommy confirmed. Yeah. That's what we were thinking. Yeah.
I mean, only if a guy's holding out, usually. That's when you see the move.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Like that. But that's the only time there's big moves before camp, right? Yeah.
I mean, pretty much. I don't see many other times. that you would see something like that happen. 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. You can also hit us up in the nasty chat as well. We'll get to a few of these as we continue to work our way through the show. I want to get to one. Where is it from Eden? Eden says, hey, boys, from outside looking in, it does seem to me like there's more questions this year about the back end than last year. Is that concerning for a team chasing the cup? Cass, what do you think?
Well, all the people, they're like, trade CC, trade CC, trade CC, trade CC, trade CC, trade. Now what? Like, yeah, I think there are. And I get you had to free up some cap space and it enables you to make some more moves. I get it. But I think there are more questions defensively. Now you have answered questions offensively with having players, or you think you have, that can step in and play in the top six and having a ton, even more offensive punch, but still needing someone to play on that right side with Darnell Nurse it's a big question mark. It's a huge question mark. Now you have time to sort it out and to hopefully find an answer for that. But yeah, to say that you're a little more, I don't know if more concerned would necessarily be the right thing, but you're more aware of the need that exists on that right side in the top four on the defensive outside of the puck this year more than last. Absolutely you are, guys.
Gager, what about you? How concerned, on a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned would you be about the Oilers' blue line?
I'm trying to think of how we were acting last year. I think
about the blue line, yeah.
Yeah, we were talking kind of along the same lines, right? That this was the major area of concern.
Well, yeah, who's going to play with Darnell Nurse in the top four? Yeah.
And if I were to rank them, I think the level of concern is a little bit higher this year than it was last year because there's unknowns. You knew what you had with CC, right? You knew, and you hoped with Broberg, and you kind of knew what you had with Vinny Darnay, right? So there was some certainty last year, at least. This year, Brown, Emerson, Stetcher, those are question marks to me. They're all good. They could pan out, but we haven't seen them yet. And Emerson doesn't have a lot of experience. Stetcher, on the other hand, does. But yeah, I'd be very, I guess, concerned about the back end of the Oilers start the season.
780-218-9999. 780-218-9999 is where you can chime in. If you'd like to get in on the inbox today, you can also hit us up over in the nasty chat as well. We'll get to a few more of those as we continue to work our way through the show. Apparently, Stoff with Saravalli yesterday was talking about Rasmus Ristolainen as a right shot D-man who had a lot of hype coming into the National Hockey League. Had a couple of good seasons in Buffalo, but it's kind of fallen off a little bit as of late. So I don't know. I mean, any move in Edmonton, we all panic as a big move. Like, oh my God, this is going to be incredible. But I don't know. I think there's a difference between big moves and just other moves. And I don't think you see a lot of moves between now and the beginning of the season around the league. Maybe Stan Bowman and the Oilers are the exception to the rule and, go against the trend. But I necessarily don't think they have to either. I mean, this should be a team right now with the guys that they've got on the blue line should be good enough to get them off to a good start. And then you address your right shot second pairing up to and right before the deadline. I think that's probably worst case scenario at this point. And who knows? Maybe one of those guys does emerge somewhere along the way. But I don't know. Ristolainen doesn't move the needle for me that much. Maybe I'm wrong. 780-218-9999. We'll start to get into some of our divisional previews as we work our way through the month of September. We should probably put together our top 50, just like usual, too, boys. Get a little survey sent out. You guys can send me the top 50s, and we'll do that later in the month of September. Let's get into Hire or Fire right now for GS Construction. Shout out to Sandman and the team over at GS Construction, setting the industry standard for 50 years with quality, efficiency, and safety driving their success. GS Construction has a foundation built on teamwork, and now they want you to become a part of the team. Visit www.gsconstruction.ca, click on Ready to Work, or visit their page at Indeed.ca. And with the Next Up Person program at GS Construction, it's not just a job, it is a career. All right, hire or fire, boys. Mufasa was James Earl Jones' best work?
I'll fire it. It's Vader.
It's Vader?
Yeah.
Vader. I mean, Mufasa is second. It's also, it was so sad for me. I mean, he had a long life and
grew up with this guy. Great
career.
Run, 93 years old.
Brilliant career. I was still just sad and still am. Like, he may have my favorite voice, like just the richness in that voice to listen to from whether it be from Vader or Mufasa or anything else he voices. It's like, I love that voice, but there's no beating Vader. You can't. Nope.
I do like his voice more than Morgan Freeman's voice. And they're both legendary voices, but I liked his voice more. Now, I mean, there's Vader, there's Mufasa, there's Field of Dreams, there's The Sandlot, and there's Coming to America. He was in Coming to America as well, if you remember. He was
also in the Clear and Present Danger movies, and he was
the
good
Tom
in there.
Clancy,
the Tom Clancy.
Was he in those Tom Clancy ones?
Yeah, he passed away in the one, but
okay. Spoiler alert.
He was kind of like, they're old. Jeez, we haven't watched them by now. Come on.
I don't think I have. Yeah. Joel says Sam Elliott trumps from as far as a voice goes. I don't know, man. Sam Elliott's got a good voice too, but I mean, when you're known on two of your most iconic roles for just your voice, I think that elevates you to another level. So, hell of a run. I'd be missed. It's weird now because like you can AI his voice like right now online. It's kind of creepy. But yeah, I mean, that's a voice that'll live on forever. It just simply is. All right, here, let's go here. Now, this is a bit of an unfair question because I think, it'll probably be tough for any team around the league if this does happen. But if Stuart Skinner gets hurt, the Oilers would miss the playoffs. Hire it or fire it?
Well, fire it. They won't miss the playoffs. They wouldn't finish in first in the division. They wouldn't finish first in the West. They wouldn't finish first in the league, certainly. But
they're like a 2-3 team in the division, basically, Steve?
Yeah, probably.
With Pickard?
Yeah, I would assume so.
Gager, you're a big Skinner guy. We know it.
Yeah, it would be tough, man. Yeah, they definitely don't finish first. Are they still top 3 in the division? When's he getting injured, Dusty? Christmas?
Great question. I don't know. That's a good point. Like if it's in March, you're probably okay. If it's in November and he's out for the year, then
let's just say Christmas time he's out 2 months.
The whole point of this is just determine how strong we think the rest of the team is. Right? Like if they're a strong enough team that they push through losing, the number one goalie is going to play 55 to 60 games.
If you're asking me if I'm confident that Pickard can pick up the slack for a while, I am confident, but he's going to need help from everybody, forwards, defensemen, to help out a little bit more playing that much. And who knows, maybe you get a look at Rodrigue too. So if it happens later, I still think they make the playoffs. Yes.
We like to go all over the place with hire it or fire it here on Two Guys and a Goalie. So let's go here. The Edmonton Elks are officially back. Hire it or fire it?
Go hire it. They're all the way back. This is great. Next 2 games going to be so exciting. Can't wait.
This is the best we've ever seen from the Elks. You know what I mean? Like, Cass, you got to be hiring this, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
They're back.
Were you at the Labor Day rematch game? Did you take the girls?
I didn't take them. No, we had too much going on. I had it on though. Like I watched it, sat and watched it, but wasn't able to get there. But man, what a game! I just love the power move of driving the truck through the Calgary bench.
I know.
That was. I just was so happy in that moment. I'm like, you finally beat them back to back in the Labor Day Classic, and it was beautiful.
Well, Gage, we talked about it on the Nielson show yesterday. Like, whether he meant to do it or not, he won a bunch of Edmontonians over with driving that thing. And the fact that the new owner of this team and his wife are driving that, throwing footballs out to the crowd. That's a vibe. That's a vibe. It's as simple as that.
Dusty, I think there's an internal mantra within the Elks, all the team right now. It's be Larry.
Yes.
Because Aaron Grimes
said
said
that
it
to you guys,
on the show yesterday. He goes, "Be Larry, baby, be Larry." And I think that's great. I might make that sign and go to the next game.
Well, there should be that sign of the next game. Be Larry. I'm sure that'll pop up. And yeah, that's a good idea. You know what? There should be a ton of signs. Let's just make Commonwealth the sign place. Like, bring your signs, crank it up a notch like it's a bloody wrestling event, and then we can put some of them on the broadcast, and it'd be fun. People are like, man, this is a hilarious place to be. I think that would be. I think that'd be a pretty good time. Next home game for the Elks coming up against the Bombers. First half of a back-to-back against Winnipeg, who, I mean, that's going to go a huge way in the playoff race in the West right now. Connor McDavid will score 50 goals this year. Hire it or fire it. He's had 60 over the last few years. He had 32 last season. Over 50 goals this year. Hire it or fire it.
I'm going to fire it. He's dishing for 82, and then he'll score in the playoffs.
What do you think, Kaz? You think he's going to get 50?
Yeah, he gets 50. He gets back to shooting a little bit again. Going to have, I would say, more consistent line mates. I think he gets to 50.
Yeah, it's interesting, his goal scoring, because that 1 year he just erupted. Now he started shooting the puck a ton. But here's McDavid's goals since, well, you know, his rookie season he was hurt. Since then, it's been 100 points every single year except the 1 year at 97, but he only played 64 games. So 100 points, 30 goals, 108 points, 41 goals, 116 points, 41 goals. It's ridiculous the player's this consistent and this great in the modern game. 97 points, 34 goals in 64 games. That would have been close to a 50-goal pace. 105 points, 33 goals in 56 games during the pandemic. And then the last 3 years, 123 and 44, 153 and 64, which is just a supernova campaign. And then last year, 132 points and 32 goals. But we do remember he was a little bit banged up at times last year, right? So, but 32 to go from 64 to 32 to have your goals cut in half. I think I know you guys usually do hire or fire. I think I'd probably fire it. I think he probably ends up somewhere between like 42 and 48 with close to 100 assists again.
I think he hits 100 assists again.
He's getting 50, you guys. You guys are nuts.
I mean, if he goes 100 assists and 45 goals, that's his second best season ever. I don't know. We'll see how that one plays out. If you're watching over on YouTube or you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, what do you think? Connor McDavid over or under 50 goals? Penner's Pancake says hire it, 52. I'll be interested to see what our partners at Coolbet end up setting all these NHL futures. What is the number on Connor McDavid this year for goals and points? And one more bonus, hire it or fire it from Big Slam Nasty. Hire it or fire it. Gager has the B Rabbit from 8 Mile look with the beanie today.
And the headphones.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Are you having any of your mom's spaghetti today, Gager?
Spaghetti.
Yeah. I have to go over to Cass's for mom's spaghetti. That's the only way to get it.
All right, we've got EST afternoons coming up. Gager toughing it out from home today. Hernan Salas, Joaquin Gage coming up. John Hodge, Pagnotta on EST afternoons from 1 till 3 today. Reed Wilkins was down at the skate this morning, and he'll have the latest on the Edmonton Oilers informal skates. Going to talk some CFL on the Reed Wilkins show today with Reed Wilkins and the glue guy, Jay Milne. That's all coming up here on TuneIn and iHeart and YouTube and at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Two guys and a goalie presented to you by GS Construction. 50 years with quality, efficiency, and safety driving their success. Boys, we'll talk to you later in the week.
Later, boys.